Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone was looking at you? You adjusted your shirt, smoothed your hair, sat a little straighter, spoke a little softer, all because somewhere deep inside you believed that you were being watched, judged, measured. We all do this. We live with an invisible audience in our heads, a silent crowd we perform for. We imagine their eyes on us when we walk, talk, post, decide. And in that imagination, we shrink, we hesitate. We become smaller versions of ourselves. But here's the uncomfortable truth. No one is thinking about you, at least not in the way you believe. People are too busy thinking about themselves, just like you. They walk into the same room worrying about their own shirt, their own hair, their own imagined judgment. Everyone is the main character in their own story, and in yours, you barely appear. It sounds lonely at first. As if the world is indifferent, but look closer, and you'll see that it's not loneliness, it's liberation. Because if no one is truly watching, then you don't have to perform. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to filter every word through the lens of approval. Most of the things you're afraid of doing, wearing that outfit, starting that project, speaking your truth, you hold back from not because of real consequences, but because of imaginary eyes. The mind is strange like that. It creates spotlights where there are none. It fills in the silence of others with imagined criticism. It makes you believe that the world has a special interest in your flaws. But the world is not a court, and you are not on trial. You are a passing thought in the minds of others, if that, a moment, a glimpse, here then gone. And that's not a tragedy, that's a gift, because in that anonymity you can breathe, you can experiment, you can fail, and not be defined by your failure. You can be awkward, be weird, be wrong, and it will pass unnoticed. Think of how many times you've seen a stranger trip on the street or say something awkward. You noticed it, maybe smiled, maybe forgot. You moved on. That's exactly what others do with you. The fear you carry is not about them, it's about you, about your belief that your worth is tied to how you appear, about the myth that you must earn your place by being flawless. But what if you didn't have to be flawless? What if you didn't have to be impressive? What if simply being was enough? No one is thinking about you, and in that silence, you can finally start thinking for yourself. So now you know no one is thinking about you, not in the constant, all-consuming way your mind imagined. And once that truth settles in, really settles in, something begins to shift inside you. You feel lighter. You stop rehearsing every conversation in your head. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You stop playing it safe just to avoid being misunderstood. Because now you see it clearly. Most people are too wrapped up in themselves to even notice you're afraid. They're not watching. They're surviving. They're worrying about their own clothes, their own words, their own cracks in the mirror. You are not at the center of their thoughts. You are not the mistake they replay at night. You are not the failure they tell stories about. You're background noise in a world of noise. And in that, there is peace. Because if people aren't thinking about you, you are free to live, truly live, to speak with less fear, to move with less tension, to express without double-checking your image. You start to realize how many parts of your life were built on the shaky foundation of other people's imagined opinions. The career path you didn't take, the words you swallowed, the dreams you buried before they had a chance to speak. You start to wonder, what would your life look like if it wasn't edited for approval? And that's where the real freedom begins. You start creating because it brings you joy, not because it'll impress. You wear what feels good, not what looks safe. You speak honestly, even if your voice trembles a little. You allow yourself to fail, and you allow others to forget it. There's a strange paradox here. When you stop trying to be impressive, people are drawn to you more. not because you're performing, but because you're real. And realness is rare. But you don't need their attention anymore. You've stopped depending on it. Because now you've learned something essential. Your life is yours. You do not need permission to be yourself. You do not need to be liked to have worth. You do not need to be seen to be whole. You are not on a stage. You are not in a competition. You are simply alive, and that is enough. And even when you do make mistakes, even when you fall, even when you embarrass yourself, it will pass. People forget, the world moves on, and so can you. You begin to trust the silence, to embrace it, because in the quiet absence of judgment, you find your own voice again. You stop asking, what will they think? And you begin to ask, what do I think? That's where your real life begins, in the space where no one is watching, and you finally allow yourself to be seen by you.